I'm not sure how you came across this video, whether it was in your feed, a suggested video, or you are one of my 12 subs. This video is so involved, I want to break it up into 3 parts over 3 Tuesdays, with part 3 being dedicated to giving some of you the platform for me to read out your comments and responses. You don't necessarily have to agree with me, but my goal in this is to open the discussion. It is a delicate topic, and I do thank you in advance for watching. Take a look at your child through objective eyes. Now seriously, take a real good look. Is it possible that you are unknowingly raising a bully? Let's just say you have a 13-year-old who is name-calling, intimidating, or demeaning other kids on the bus. They don't just wake up one day and decide that the role they want to play is the villain. We got to go right back to toddler years. You may be responsible for raising a child who has no filter, no self-control, and no regard for others. In most cases, a 2-year-old bully may be learning from older siblings, family members, or even the parents. Toddlers watch closely everything that goes on around them, and that means they often imitate the good and the bad. We know hurt kids hurt kids. Are there signs that your precious little one is the playground bully, or signs that they are the target of the dreaded bully? Signs like stealing toys when others refuse to share, hitting, biting and pushing, spitting or even yelling. Any of this sound familiar? You have the power to stop this. Take a look. Maybe this looks amusing, but this is serious. That child just slapped her sister. We know kids fight. That is part of development and learning how to be a human in a social group. It is how you react and respond as a parent to that behaviour that teaches the child right from wrong. We should never place our hands on anyone in anger, regardless of age. The role of the adult human is to step in when the infant, juvenile or sub-adult human oversteps the boundaries of decent group behaviour. One of the problems is that parents won't allow anyone else to pull them into line. We're not talking about riot squad type pulling them into line. We're talking about just pulling them into line. Nor will the parents acknowledge that there is a problem. Their lack of action makes them an accomplice. Not only is nothing actively being done at a very early age to stop this behaviour, we are actually celebrating by filming and uploading and then thanking people for watching and liking. What's wrong with us?
Don't fucking dare! I was gonna put my fucking ass down! You fucking hear me? You pulling a
So what's the difference? Nothing. Even the absence of consequences is the same. It is not the school teacher's role to discipline your child's bad behaviour. Their role is to teach the school's curriculum, and since a teacher won't tell you the truth about your child's behaviour, I will. If your child is picking on other children, then they are a bully. Do your job as a parent and sort them out. Conversely, if your child is being bullied and you know about it, do your job as a parent and sort it out. Here's a thought. Self-defence classes could do the trick. When I was bullied as a 13-year-old, my father sent me to judo. I mean, look at my name. Gerald Pauschmann. Who's called Gerald? And I'm German. I was an easy target. I was Kraut Fritz in Lederhosen. As a result of the confidence that I gained through judo, I was able to look after myself. I didn't have to fight. It was almost like the bullies knew that there was something different about me and they left me alone. This isn't the answer for everyone, but it worked for me. And sometimes you just got to deal with the bully's currency, which may be physical, verbal, or cyber. Highbrow speech doesn't work with kids that deal in physical violence. Putting a 4-year-old in the naughty chair works, but at 15 years of age, give me a break. That's not going to work. All bullies operate at a lower level of intellect and insight. You are probably sitting there asking,
So smart ass, what do you think is the answer?
well, thank you for asking. Connection, activity, boundaries, and positive role models. Not football role models that go off the track and start taking drugs and alcohol. It may sound weird to you, but if your child is a bully, show up as a parent and take them to, I don't know, boxing lessons, fishing, camping, dancing. I don't care. Just get them active and stop feeding them crap. To be honest, the bully really isn't happy bullying. You have to find out why they are a bully. Remember Simon Sinek? He said, find your why. Well, ask your child why. A lot of what I'm talking about is based on research, and research shows us that as a result of being bullied either at school or at home, adults in their late 20s are much more likely to be anxious, depressed, less likely to be gainfully employed, less likely to be healthy, and more likely to be addicted to drugs or alcohol. Now, in Australia, 8 people suicide every day, and for every death, there are allegedly 30 that are attempting suicide. That's over 65,000 attempts every year, and that's just what we know. As the toll of teenagers committing suicide due to bullying continues to rise, many parents are at a complete loss as to what to do. And because this is a Tuesday's tutorial, and because I am dealing with the consequences of bully behaviour in my everyday work life, I want to give you some of my insights. Oh, and if you're going to get offended by what I'm about to say, we've prepared a cry closet for you.
Great to see you tonight.
Hey, good to see you.
At first glance, it seems a little confusing because college, of course, is the least stressful place there is. I mean, it's already
stressful?
a yoga ritual. Well, sure. I mean, you go to class for 2 hours a week and get drunk the rest of the time.
Oh, come on. That's
Why are
not
college
everyone's
students
experience. No, it's very stressful. They're learning. They're the future. These are citizens of tomorrow. And they're learning as much as they can. They're as stressed as can be, so they need psychological health. They need this bioenergetic way to get out their stress. They need 10 minutes of a good cry and a cry closet to then be prepared to take those exams from everything they've learned in those classes.
You see, herein lies the problem. Cry closets, safe spaces, 256 pronouns, and how about we just let them identify with how they're feeling and not their biology. If you do all these things, you are setting your child up to be bullied, and bullies love an easy target. So we've all heard of the definition of what bullying is. I mean, we know that bullying happens when a person or a group of people repeatedly and intentionally use words or actions to cause distress and harm to another person's well-being. It isn't the same as normal conflict between people, such as having an argument or a fight, or simply just disliking someone. It's more about repeated behaviour by someone who has power or control over someone else. I mean, just listen to this nonsense. One of the ways suggested to combat bullying in a safe way is to express your feelings and anger about bullying and write a message to the person who's been bothering you. This is a proven technique that will help get things off your chest without complicating the situation. The trick is, of course, is to never send it. So take a few moments to write a message and then just see how many tiny little pieces you can rip it up into. Oh, it's so satisfying. Give me a break. Look, I love it when people say, look, it makes them sound so sanctimonious. Listen, same thing, pal. But that suggestion is about as useful as the piece of paper an AVO is written on. Come here. It doesn't work. I wanted to find out more about how do you stop the bullying, and to be honest, the suggestions from bullyingnoway.gov.au sounds like a lot of corporate speak to me. Here's what the research says. In Australia and overseas, it has been identified that the following combination of broad strategies are most likely to prevent and reduce bullying. Are you ready for this? A universal whole school approach over a long duration that takes a multifaceted approach rather than focusing on one single component.
Increased awareness of bullying in the school's community through assemblies, and student plans and activities. A whole school detailed policy that addresses bullying. Effective classroom management and classroom rules. The promotion of a positive school environment that provides safety, security, and supports the students and promotes positive relationships and student well-being. Effective methods of behaviour management that are consistently used are non-hostile and non-punitive.
Come on, people. There wouldn't be a school in all of Australia that doesn't have an anti-bullying program, just like workplaces that have zero tolerance to violence. Of course they do. I mean, can you imagine a school saying, nah, we're good thanks, I don't see a reason why we should have an anti-bullying program? I need to pause here for a moment and just take a breath. Australia, this strategy ain't working. You have messed up bad and you have failed our youth. I can just imagine the bully sitting in an assembly while the principal addresses the school with this rhetoric And do you really think they are taking all this in? It's like the bully says to themselves,
Wow, that was really inspiring, Principal. I must ensure that I promote positive relationships and my fellow students' well-being.
really? No, come on, really? What the bully is doing right there is that they are planning their next victim. That is what's really going on. In Australia here, there are even anti-bullying laws. Yeah, right. Well, how's that working for us? Just flick on the idiot box tonight and watch your favourite reality TV show and watch the bullying happen right in front of your eyes. So where's the law? I heard malicious language, trash talk, and people being offensive. All actions highlighted in the law. Take a look.
Shut up, Josh!
James,
Shut up, Josh!
have respect.
Stay out of it. Don't let me come for you. Stay out of it. And I'll come for you, and I'll come for you, and I'll come for you because you're all disrespectful assholes.
James, please, please.
That's what you are.
Also, this is really hard for me to say, but it's the real world. You should choose more appropriate clothes or shed some pounds. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
We can't all be blind to the fact that someone has raised these kids. But of course, it's not the parents of the bully, because your kid can do no wrong. We all know who they are, from the little kid kicking the back of the aeroplane seat, the boy who is running around like an unregistered dog in restaurants, and of course, little Miss Princess Bitchface. But we dare not say anything because, Gerald, these kids are our future entrepreneurs. They don't work well with structure. They are growing into themselves. And what's with the parents wanting to be the child's best friend? You're a parent. Now that's a verb. And I don't think I've ever heard a mate of mine say,
Hey G-Man, I know we're only 13, but it's probably a good idea that we put our helmets on when we ride our bikes.
or,
Hey, G-Man, we better not take a drag of that filthy cigarette because research has shown that it leads to lung cancer.
that's not what friends do realistically. That's the role of the parent. If you have a child that has ended up in juvie, or even now the big house, well, that's on you. Don't go blaming it on society, living standards, the environment, or, hey Gerald, they just hung around the wrong crowd. Well, if that's the case, and you want to use your victim status to make that claim, then every parent that has raised a well-adjusted functioning child or adult must be the result of society or hanging around the right crowd, and the parents had no ownership in their success or failures. If your child is a bully, that's on you, the parent. Your job is to prepare them for the next phase of their life, and that is to become young adults. If you can't do that, well, go Google how to be an effective parent. Everything I read seems to be targeted at what actions the victim, other students and schools should take. So okay, we're going to pile a whole heap of good people into one classroom and raise awareness about how we can reduce bullying with some broad strategies. Good kids don't bully. Bullies do. I mean, would a 14-year-old boy or girl bully me? Well, they can try, but they don't. Do grown men and women bully me? Hell yes. Have you read some of the comments from the weak, insipid troll hiding behind their technology? They do it because they are insecure individuals who don't know how to have an opposing point of view, and so I don't blame it on you. It's how you've been raised. And just sometimes, as the old Texan saying goes, you gotta rise above your raisin. Bullies are intrinsically insecure creatures. They look for people who are weaker than them. They don't have the courage to face people who are bigger than them or stronger than them. So they seek to squash the weak because their goal is to do bad things because it makes them feel good. My 12 followers don't bully me or harass me because they are decent people with good ethics, high moral standards, and have probably had some incredible parenting that has taught them right from wrong, whatever form it took. If you were my age group, you probably received a good old-fashioned whooping from your parents. And at school, if you were the class clown or being a disruption during class, you probably got 6 of the best at school. Hey, thanks Brother Cram and Brother Brady for putting me on the straight and narrow. Am I saying we should bring back the cane or the strap? Well, hell no. But that form of discipline worked. For me. Hey, how good was Little Lunch and Big Lunch? We have so much more to cover, and next week I will show you what breaking point looks like. If you have any comments so far, I will be spending some time to read them and then give you the platform where I will read them out in part 3 of this video. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm Gerald Pauschmann for The Point TV.
All right, everybody, welcome to
You Better Listen to Your Dad 2018. Any of y'all know me know I've got two wonderful children, Hayden, my son at 10, and my daughter, Temperance, at 8. Well, my son has finally got in trouble on the bus enough to where he got actually kicked off the bus for 3 days because he was being a little bully, which I do not tolerate, cannot stand, and therefore he has to now run to school. We're right about 1 mile from the school, so all week he has got the experience of running to school. The good news is, hey guys, he keeps up a pretty good mile pace at 6 miles an hour so far. Yesterday he was apparently a little rude for Michelle in the morning, so even though it's raining this morning, he still gets to run. This right here is just simple. You know, ironically, since he's been running to school this week, his behavior's been much better. His teachers have approved of his behavior this week. He hasn't gotten in trouble at school this week, where last week he was just absolutely out of his mind. But this right here is just old school simple parenting. This ain't killing nobody. This is a healthy way for a child to be punished because it's, you know, exercise, something that a lot of people don't think children should do anymore, so you just stick them behind an Xbox for the rest of their lives. So this right here is called parenting, guys. If you don't know what it's like, here you go. Teach your child a lesson. You don't have to kill them. You don't always have to beat them, but sometimes it sucks for them, and that's what teaches them. So he's going to be a very fast runner later on because I've always joked he'll either be fast or obedient. So far we're working on fast. But yeah, so we've got a little ways to go. Just wanted to show everybody, give you a good little laugh. But yeah, Thornhill household does not tolerate it. If you don't do what you're supposed to, you'll get punished. And, you know, I get creative with stuff. I've done all kinds of different things, but we're going to make sure that one way or another, his teachers are able to enjoy his company at school. He's not disrupting his classmates and everything else. So if you say we need gun control, people, you know, here you go. This is what we need. Parenting. Very simple thing. Proud gun supporter, love guns and everything else, but I love my children more than anything in this world. So I'm going to take initiative to raise them. You know, I can't lock them in my safe like I can guns. You know, I can control guns easily forever. This I've got to make sure I control now, because when I'm not around, he has free will. So, you know, if you want to figure out what to do, having issues, get creative, be a parent. Teach them how to be responsible for their own lessons and accountable for everything they've done. And make sure you're there. You know, my son, in this whole deal the other morning when he knew he was in trouble, he told his sister, he goes, Daddy's always there for me. He goes, Daddy's never left me. Daddy's always been by my side. Sometimes I don't like it, but that's what makes him a great dad, because he knows when to bust my butt, and when I'm in trouble, he has to make sure I do right. And that's why he's the best daddy in the world. Coming from a 10-year-old little boy that knew he was going to have to run a mile to school, acknowledging that, hey, that's what a parent's supposed to do. If I screw up, I've got to pay the price. So, you know, my kids do something, that's what they do. They have to pay the price. You know, if they get an allowance, they get fined, just like in real life, people. So teach your kids, most importantly, don't be a friend, be a parent. That's what children need these days, parents. So hope everybody enjoys this, gets a laugh. If you got your panties in the water over watching a kid jog, well, I feel sorry for you. You're probably a lousy piece of because if a kid jogging offends you, then get your ass off the couch. You probably need a lap or two. But I'm sure someone will get all bent on shape. Oh my God, child abuse, a child running. Yep, I'll let you know when your son's getting a 45 out of my safe. Y'all have a blessed day. God bless and enjoy. And if you need anything for your kids, you can feel free to send them to Brian's Boot Camp. No charge. Happy to get kids going. Thank you, guys.